Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, how to make dosa part 1. So we have mise en place our ingredients. We need 1 cup of rice, a half a cup of red lentils this morning, and 1 tablespoon of fenugreek seeds, and they're also called methi when you go to the Indian food store. So the real deal on dosa is really you can use a variety of grains. It doesn't have to be rice. Traditionally it's used with white rice. I always use whole grains, but I've even used some of the ancient wheat grains. I've used quinoa, and I've tried several grains. I don't think I've had one fail yet. And as far as lentils go, I've used a variety of beans as well, not just lentils, but I've used black beans and kidney beans, and I don't think I've tried garbanzos, but I'm sure they'd work. And fenugreek adds, if you're using these in a savory dish, fenugreek adds a really nice flavor, but you certainly can leave it out. It's just really more for flavor. And it's also traditional. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just soak these all in water for the day. And then tonight I'm going to puree and then let that sit. All right, so I'm going to I put them all together. Some people separate them and soak them, but I don't see the need for that. And also, if you wanted to wash these really well, you could, but the brown rice I get is clean. And look at, I still have my Woodstock bracelet on. And I might pour off, I'll let that settle and pour off the first. All right, my beans and rice, my lentils and rice are drained and rinsed, and I'm gonna get those in my, I think I need 2 hands. All right, my lentils and rice that are softened from sitting in water all day are in my Vitamix. All right, and if I start my Vitamix, it'll actually start show you the consistency, and I'm going to feel this. It's still a little gritty, so I'm going to put it in a few more minutes, but it's pretty good. And I would say that's a good consistency. It's actually going to thicken up during fermentation. All right. This is nice and smooth. So I put it in for another 30 seconds. Now I'm going to pour it into my clean bowl, and you can see that consistency. You may feel like it's a little thin, that it's thinner than pancake batter, but it's better to start thin because it will thicken, I promise. And I'm just going to clean out my Vitamix, get the rest in there, and I'm going to cover it with my cloth. And let it sit overnight. It's cool here in Vermont today. I would say it's down in the low 70s or high 60s. So overnight will be fine. If you're in a warmer climate, you want to try it for 4 hours. you should see bubbles, and not these kind of bubbles. These are from the Vitamix, but you'll see fermentation bubbles. All right, I'll check in tomorrow. All right, I just want to show you the consistency just after I've poured it into the clean bowl. All right, and it's just going to sit overnight. So the bacteria, the good probiotics that are going to create the fermentation are basically in the beans. They're hanging out with the beans. All right, so I just broke the skin. We have nice fermentation going on. You can see it's much thicker than it was yesterday. And I'm heating up my pan, and I'm just using a big skillet. I like to take a little oil and just rub it, and I'll do that in just a sec. So I just put a little oil in the pan, and then I actually sort of just rub it off. I want a pretty dry pan for this, but I also don't want it to stick. So just like that, just a nice, and I've just rubbed it off. So I always use a label when I make my dosa, a ladle, not a label. I use a ladle when I make my dosa, and I'm going to show you why I use a ladle. I like to heat up my pan for quite some time. I have it on 4 right now out of 6. And then I'm going to bring it down. Once it's pretty hot, I'll keep it at 1. And this is my large burner, so it's going to it'll keep this pan going when I have it down at 1. All right, so we'll start in a minute. Okay, my pan's starting to steam a little, so I'm going to bring it down to low and give it another quick swirl with this. We're good. All right, so I take my batter in my ladle, and I'm going to put it right in the middle of the pan. And I think I might need a little more. And what I do is I take the ladle, give it some pressure, and I swirl out the batter all the way to the edges, and I repair if I get some holes, I just repair them. And you see that it's already, when you get it nice and thin, it already starts cooking pretty quickly. And what you're watching for is for the edges, this edge to start curling up, and that actually tells you that it's ready to flip it. But it's going to be a few minutes because it's a little thick in the center where I had to repair it. But this is a nice thinness. It gets it nice and crispy that way. All right, so the technique is to put the dosa in the middle, then use the back of your ladle to actually go in a spiral to thin it out. You can see here that the edge has flipped up, and that tells you it's ready. And I just use my fingers and pick it up. And there you go. There's our first dosa. And I'm just going to cook the whole batch today because I'm going on a sailboat and I want to have these for the weekend. So there's your dosa lesson from yours truly. Have a great weekend. One last thing I forgot to say. So one of the things I like to do, if you like a little salt, if you're a salt eater, I'm getting more tear out than I usually would, and I think it's because I waited a while, so it's pretty fermented. Although the flavor is really good, because I just started eating this one. Anyway, one thing I like to do is just sprinkle a little bit of salt. So I have my little salt right here, and I do it while it's wet like this. That's the best time. You never want to put salt in the batter because fermentation doesn't like salt, so don't ever salt a batter. But you know, if you want to salt or pepper or put cilantro leaves or garlic, this is the stage to do it right here. Okay,